Hello, welcome to Flower Juice. My name is John McDonald, and today we're going to make an interesting arrangement. And what I want to use is this renewal foam. Now, this is a new foam from Oasis, and basically it is plant-based. So the big benefit of that is that it's good for the environment. So for a long, long time, floral foam has been basically petrochemical-based, and now this is like the new version. So we're going to see how it works. Now, I've cut half a block and I've soaked it in water, and it took up the water really well. It took it up in about 1.5 minutes, which is no problem. And I've put it into this shallow dish and I'm just taping it in. Now, the vase that we're going to use is this beautiful green kind of 1970s sort of vase, and I think it's lovely. It's really interesting, and this is going to be part of our design. So I'm just using a little bit of floral fix. So that's again another Oasis product. And this is the thing, Oasis have been such a major player in the florist industry with different products. So this is our base. We've got our vase, we've got this shallow dish. Now this is actually just a plant saucer, but the benefit of this is it's going to allow me easy access into the side of the foam for making our design. We've got our foam and we've just secured it in. Now, if you were doing this at home, you don't necessarily even need to tape it in. So let's get started now. I've got a range of different things, and really I wanted to pick up on the green because two of the things that I've got that are exciting are these cheese plant leaves and these anthuriums. So really want to put them in first. And I also want to keep the arrangement quite low. So more that it will curve down round the vase rather than come up and be a great big display. So I'm just using a knife to cut our materials. A knife is always a good way of cutting fresh material because it gives a clean cut. So not only is it good for the flowers because they have less damage, but it's quicker. You don't need to keep putting it up and down. Now I am using the cheese plant leaves a little bit backwards as well. So basically we can see the front of them and the back of them. We're seeing different aspects of the same material. Now I'm going to use a little bit of something with a line, and this is actually yucca from the garden. So if you do have access to a garden, then it really makes a difference with designs to mix and match commercial materials with homegrown materials. And we're just wanting to strengthen that line that's going that way. I think we'll do the same on the other side. So these are actually quite big stems and quite heavy pieces of material, really, like plant material. And this foam is holding them just exactly the way it would if it was regular foam. So that is a really good sign. Now this one is wanting to bend the way that I don't want it to bend. So I'm just going to actually turn it around and then it will be bending the way I want. So we can start to build up this framework for our design. Now I have a little bit of bergenia leaves. These are really cute. And what's quite nice about them is they've got this rounded edge. So that matches in with our roundiness of our container. We'll bring a little bit through the back as well. Again, this is just holding these flowers perfectly, holding these materials perfectly. So we've got our framework and I'm quite happy. What I want to do is, I do have a few of these blooms. So we're going to use these to give us a little bit of impact into the design. And this was always the worry when we were finding that floral foam was a little bit problematic, was for special floristry, special events where you really want to make things that are not necessarily achievable with a natural method like scrunched wire. So especially competition work. So I mean, event work, you know that it can be for one day and that's fine. But for actual competition work where it needs to go in and be good for a week potentially, then what we need was some way of working with flowers that is going to maintain the flowers and keep them, because that's really what our mechanic is a way of keeping our flowers fresh. Now I'm adding a few carnations. Really, I had to just have a look around and see what I had. So I don't know if this would necessarily have been the colour palette that I would have chose, but sometimes when you use materials that you weren't planning to use, it can be quite interesting. So let's see where this takes us. I can see from the front here that if I put one into there, this red line is coming right through and creating a bit of interest. Now I'm really holding off from my anthuriums until the very end. And the reason for that is I want them to be the thing that stands out. So these other things are really creating a backdrop for that. Now I've got a little bit of conifer here, and I'm using it because it's giving us a change of texture. The other thing as well is, like, my whole hedge is essentially dark green, and then there's one bit that has this amazingly light golden conifer, and it really is a breath of fresh air. It's like a pop of colour, putting it into design. So because we've got these yellow chrysanthemums, I think this works really, really well. Now I'm just putting a little bit of foliage around the back. If you have a design that's sitting where people will see from all around, even if the main focus is from one direction, it is quite nice just to give it a little bit of a finish that people will appreciate. Now, this little bit of variegated foliage, and we'll bring that in as well. I really wanted this design to be a celebration of anything green, and that yellow with the green really just peps it up and makes it a little bit more zingy, which I think is quite cool. The red wasn't a main colour, but I've got it, and I think if it takes your eye into the design, then that adds a little bit of interest. So as you can see, we've got our framework of foliage, we've got a bit of a focus with our chrysanthemums. I've got a few lovely little eryngium that we're going to bring in and just bunch as well. So again, this is just building up the texture and the interest, and we have got that kind of curve coming over. So this is what is just a kind of showcase of particular flowers. Like, I don't know what you would call this. I would probably call it like a buffet design. So if you were in a big hotel or somewhere where you're wanting a little bit of a showpiece, then this is the ideal kind of arrangement for that. You can add it in with other products. So let's get another wee eryngium through there. Just when you have little pieces that take your eye through the back, is always quite interesting, because this is what gives depth to design and makes it interesting. So we've got our basic design. Now for our final flowers, I've got these 3 anthuriums. We just need to look and see how best to place them. I think we can maybe go a little bit asymmetrical. Again, it really depends where you're planning to put something. But that works for me. Because we've got the weight of this on this side, then we need a little bit of weight onto that side of our anthuriums. And just to finish then, I have a few touches of grass. So this is the flowers or the seed heads of my zebra grass. And we're just going to bring that in. Again, just to give a little change in texture. Add to that buffet feel. I do need one just up here into this space. Now, as you can see, I've added quite a lot of materials to this. And this was half a block of the renewal foam, and it has handled this with no problem at all. And I have to say, years ago, when I first started in floristry, it was very easy to overuse foam and to overuse materials and to be wasteful. So if you are using floral foam, a good tip is to only soak the bit that you need, as opposed to soaking the whole block. And also just to cut the right size. You don't necessarily need a block. Sometimes you only need half a block. So don't be wasteful if you don't need to be. And there we go. We've got an interesting design that's full of texture, full of variety, and takes you in a different direction. So normally, as I say, with a vase like this, we would have gone up, maybe done a big kind of triangular or traditional style, but we would definitely have used the height. And we don't need to do that with a vase like that. We can do more of a cascade design. So we've got an interesting design that I think is a little bit fun, and it would look great on your side table or on a buffet in a hotel. So I hope you've enjoyed watching today's video. I hope that you're inspired to give the renewal foam a go. It really is a great product, and hopefully it really takes off. And then we don't need to worry when we're throwing flowers out. They can just all go straight into the compost. We've got new videos on a regular basis. We'd love you to join us for our next design. If you've not already subscribed, then we'd love it if you do. And if you can hit that like button, that really helps with the algorithm as well. So until the next time, take care, and we hope to see you soon.